Hello everybody and welcome back. If you've been here before, hit the like and subscribe. If you've never been here before, you probably know Lake. He's back visiting again. We're going to get back into cylinders again. We're going to get...
Cylinder finish is a big part of it. And as we talked about before, as you change the ring material, now that honing process has to adapt for it, because those old rings, the moly rings, they were soft, they were porous, they held their own oil.
Mm-hmm.
With the steel rings today, they're much harder, they last a lot longer, but they're not porous. They don't hold their own oil. So the way you hone the block needs to be different, so you have the deep valleys.
Now the cylinders are holding the oil.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why we're standing here. Now here's the other reason we're here by this hone, right? Not just because hone in your shop, but there have been questions or speculation, well, that's neat and great, but I don't have $100,000 to go buy a CNC hone. The latest Rottler or Sun and Hone or whatever with 16 diamonds or whatever. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't get the right finish even with an AN.
And that's I guess the biggest beautiful thing. You still can do it.
You can do it,
but you gotta figure it out. We're gonna figure it out.
You gotta have the right tools to measure what you're doing, because as you've told me before that it feels weird not to do it the way we've done it in the past, which is to say, take that 70 grit type abrasive and go within 5,000ths of size to clean up all the boring marks.
That was just like, it's not in my nature. It's
right.
Weird, but
But then you're gonna hone a little bit closer. Then you're gonna take 1,000ths out with your final abrasive.
And then not with intense, because I would go with intense, but we were rough, medium, fine, and then the last 2/10 I stayed in the fine world.
Right.
And that last 2/10 is like the world's biggest thing, and it's probably like the craziest thing to do 2/10 in fine.
Yeah.
That's what you've already killed all of your valleys.
Right. Because now we're literally saying, take that JHU 123, that 70 grit abrasive, and go all the way to size. Right? And you're like, wow, that's too crazy. It's just not a chrome ring.
It's going to be too, yeah.
It's going to be too rough.
Yes.
It's like, okay. But do that, then come in with your 400 grit. But you're not going to use a dial bore gauge anymore. You're done. You're already at size. Put it away. Now you're going to count strokes.
And for those of you that do hone, that do hone and intense, because we used Mike's intense, but a 10th is like if the wrong load, you pass that 10th already. You're done. You went too far.
Right.
And then it's a weird, like, it's a weird feeling. And to hone by feeling that's a long time ago. We don't hone by feeling anymore.
No, and I'll say this, to make these types of finishes go with an older machine like this. Again, it's possible you can do it, but you got to be the operator, and you need to have the tools to be able to measure and see what you're doing. Because this regular old profilometer is great about getting you your RPK and RK and RVKs. The problem with that is you're basically honing by the numbers. And those numbers move all over the place.
And now you're a machinist, you're trying to do what you do. And I like education. I like always trying. If I'm reading a book, it's always something that has to do with number, but it's automotive. But to the real world, okay, now I want to do better. I ain't got time to go learn what RV means, what RK means, what this, and start writing down. And then now I'm too old to. Now you're never too old to learn, but it's a lot.
Well, the reality is, hey, this profilometer right here, this diamond tip stylus, it's what's actually being drug across that surface. And it's creating a picture for you. All those numbers are numerical representations of the picture. If I have the picture, I don't need anything else. I don't need numbers if I can see the picture. The problem with the little stylus, or the little profilometer screen is, you can't see that on there. It's too damn small, right?
To know what you're doing and see it. Actually
this is the dyno for your hone.
Yeah. Ha! Now you don't have to learn that. I guess that's the thing as well. You don't have to learn. It's great to learn the numbers and what they all mean. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. There's still valid reasons to know those things, but in the end of the day, what you're trying to do is create a texture. That texture has a look, a definitive look. You want it to be flat on top with these deep valleys underneath it every so often to hold oil. Well, with the software, now you can see it. You can take that 123 stone all the way to size. You can come in and you can plateau stroke it with, with say a 400, which is a JHU 820, and you can hit it with, say, 3 strokes or 5 strokes, and you can see from this what it's doing. And then come in there and brush it to clean it up and see what that effect does. So you can create that correct plateau, smooth on top, the deep valleys to hold oil, with a machine like this. You have to have the tools and the feel of being the machinist of what it's doing.
An example, because people are thinking, watching this going, okay, cool, I'm with you so far, but how much does a brand new Rottler cost? The brand new Rottler
start like $85,000, right?
$85,000. You're going to have to pretty much run it an 8-hour day, run it all day long. It's still better because we'll go all the reasons why it eventually will pay itself off. But how much is
Oh, so this is like $6,000, right? So now you can take your existing machine for $6,000. Now you can hone just like the modern machine in terms of the end finish.
Yes.
You can get the same finish.
It may take you a little longer. The
productivity won't be there, but
yes,
you can still get there.
Once you're there,
right.
But to start off with that machine, especially for anybody, there's no one these days. I don't think there's very little people that are starting out. I'm gonna start out in a machine shop. You either grew up in the business,
right,
and then you got started that way. But to start out when you don't know anything, you're green right out of school, and you're gonna start buying just that one piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And then we haven't even bored the cylinder yet. We haven't even, so $6,000. An older hone, learn the right way, and you're there.
You know what?
The production might be a little slower,
right?
But for a smaller shop, that might be the answer.
Well, it's like this. It makes way more sense to learn how to fly an airplane before you buy an airplane.
I think I like that.
Yeah, it's usually pretty cheaper too, right? It's cheaper to learn how to fly than it is to buy the airplane.
Yeah.
Hey, but once you've learned how to fly and you're getting good at it, then you go, okay, maybe I can buy an airplane.
Yeah.
I can trade time and make it pay for itself. Well, but you're gonna have to have it because the reality is there's so much power to be left on the table. So
because of a lot of the old school guys still haven't gone, modern in their honing way. In the machine, all kinds of processes in the shop, but yet, like we were talking about this earlier. We're going, everything's working fine, and all of a sudden the rings change on us.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
Because you want a better, you're buying a better ring, and the rings have changed, and yet I'm still going to use the same hone pattern that's been working for me forever. Why am I going to change?
Well, like I said, for an old school hot rod, small block Chevy, 350 or a 383 stroker deal, okay, you hone it the way you did it before. You can put the old ductile moly rings in there before. You're not going to be off 200 horsepower. There's not some giant number to be had there.
Sure.
But the reality is, you get these really nice diamond pistons you have over here. You get those super thin, awesome steel rings, and you don't hone it the right way for that. You're going to leave.
And that stuff's going to be. I can walk around right now and probably pick 3 or 4 sets of rings, and we're getting them in more and more. I mean, that's just so you're not even going to get those.
Right, and they'll run.
Yeah,
it'll run. It just won't run as good as it could.
Good. Yes.
It won't last as long as it could.
I'm leaving some of the gas there at the station. Yeah.
Yeah. You're leaving your change.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where you can see that. Think back to the NASCAR stuff. We may have mentioned it last time I was here. Go back to 2002, that same era when Dad's engine was built. Man, the state-of-the-art top ring package back in the NASCAR then was 043, 3mm, ductile moly, and we were honing them the old way back then. Super smooth. That's how we did it. Those engines lasted 1 race, and they'd be down 5 dead horsepower at the end of the race. And you had to hone them out a couple of thousandths to clean them up to be able to run it again. People normally order pistons in about 2 thousandths oversized. You'd have to go all the way to 5 in between, but you had to do about 2. Now they run a 0.5mm top ring. That's 0.20. So that's less than half the thickness. 0.6mm a second, 2mm oil ring. Now there's steel with these PVD coatings on them. And we hone them with this plateaued finish. Now those same blocks will go 1,500 race miles, 3 times further, and they're down nothing on power. And depending upon if you're using a bore coating, which some of them are, they don't even hone them out at all. They just basically take a diamond, a 1,000 grit diamond, and run it through their 3 or 4 strokes just to basically clean up the surface, and then put a new set of rings, new pistons in, and go. And it's not oversized at all.
Nowhere, no cylinder.
No. I mean, some of these guys are saying they got blocks, race blocks, that have 10,000 race miles on their blocks today.
And it's not. And then the blocks nowadays. Have you tried to pick up an LS block lately? They're high nickel. Yep. They're not soft like
cast iron stuff. No.
And I kind of worry on some of the vintage stuff that the ring is going to get to a point where it's so hard, and the cylinder finish, the cylinder metal, it's just too soft.
Yep.
It's just, I vacillated in thinking of maybe on some of the vintage stuff or whatever, putting sleeves in it. Just put in, the HP sleeve in it. But their block is not high nickel. Early vintage, but for a lot of them. But this right here is a totally different animal.
Yep.
This is a stock GM LS, super high nickel, great finish from the factory, all the newest technologies. That's why the LS is everybody, people go, I haven't jumped on board on the LS stuff. I'm not ragging on the LS stuff, but I tell everybody, I get it. You put a cam in and you get 600 horsepower.
Right.
I like it.
Exactly.
But it has so much technology in there. Have you seen the piston in the LS? Have you seen the rings in the LS? So all these modern stuff, the Fords, all the modern stuff, we're gonna have to figure this out, or stop doing it and let somebody else do it. But I think there is it's way past time. But even since the last time you were here till now, rings have it's like technology leaps and bounds just super fast.
It's like your phone, right? Think about it. 10 years ago, your phone would only do certain things. Now it can do all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah.
Right? It's just the technology pace keeps increasing, and we're doing more R&D, we're doing more testing, so we keep learning more, and we share it, and people can get faster and get better. And that's the neat thing about the world today. Think about it. 20 years ago, you and I'd be blackballed in the industry for doing stuff like this.
You would never tell. Yes.
You would never tell anybody this kind of stuff. It was all super secret.
And if you did, you got, like I said, then you got cut out of the loop.
Yep. And now this is what we do. We're saying, listen, you don't have to run the old stuff. You can if you want to, but man, there's another way you can do this, and we can tell you all the part numbers. We're going to show you how to do it and tell you how to do it. That way, you can get the latest and greatest for really, in the end of the day, think about it. Those old NASCAR engines back when they were doing the 043 ring deal, they're about 50 grand each is what they average cost out. That newer one costs $85,000. But do the math. One that's $85,000 that lives 1,500 race miles versus $50,000 for 500.
For one race day.
Yeah, I think I'll spend the 85 to have one that runs 3 times longer, because that's going to save me money in the long run.
Yep.
I want my change back.